Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another fantastic episode of Foxborough Central. I'm Bob Hickey, your host, and I want to thank you for taking the time to join with me and my guests as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. And of course, as we've said before, Foxborough is really a regional thing. It's a wonderful place to live, play, work, and there are many, many interesting organizations that are out there. One of those interesting organizations that I am pleased to bring to you today would be the Young Eagles. And joining me are three members of the Young Eagles. Cassie Tatra. How are you doing, Cassie?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. And Mark
Nope.
is over there. This is Greg. I'm going to try this again. Hi. Greg Albert, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are
And
you?
you are Mark.
I'm Mark.
All right, we're going to start with Mark. Mark Albert is a member and a ground worker you wrote on here. I suspect you do a little bit more. You're being humble. On the graphic, we did humble, but right now we're going to talk about, and actually, as we were doing the pre-interview, really interesting. You've been a pilot since 1969, and the Young Eagles are a flying program, no?
That's correct.
Okay.
A group called the EAA started the program in 1992. The intention was, kids like aviation. How do you know? Well, you go to any kind of an air show, you can't walk 10 yards without stepping on one. Mm-hmm. So what's the first thing we can do? Well, let's get them up in the air.
As opposed to stepping on them. Good.
So they started the program with the intention of getting 1 million kids free rides prior to the 100th anniversary of Wright Brothers' first flight, which was December 17th, 2003.
Okay.
And they made that number in November that year, kept going. We're up past 2 million now.
Wow. So the point of Young Eagles is at a high level to introduce youth to flying and to aviation. Okay. And is it all about the flying, or are there other ways to get involved?
There's mostly about the flying, about getting kids up, getting kids interested. And as I said, a lot of kids are more interested than others. Mm-hmm. Some said, okay, that's a wonderful ride. And they're aware of what you could do with an airplane. They're aware of aviation and may develop more of an interest later.
Okay. And this is a national organization?
It's a national organization with an international program.
Really? Okay. So EAA196.org is the national organization.
Is the local. Our local organization.
All right, and then we also have youngeagles.org. That's the national.
That's correct.
All right, so we have that. So 196 is Chapter 196?
Affirmative.
Fantastic. So you have not been flying since 1960?
No, I was born in 99.
Okay, then. So we were talking to Cassie Tatra, and you are a member of the Young Eagles?
I am a member of the Young Eagles and EAA, and I hope to inspire other kids, to get them involved. I started as a Young Eagle myself, and that was in 2014. And I got my license last year and wanted to pay it forward and do the full circle, being a Young Eagle to becoming a pilot for Young Eagles to pay back, basically.
Okay, so then as a pilot, you pilot and you take kids up and introduce them to aviation.
Yes, so I get a kid, basically, and we go on the plane, have a quick little ride around town kind of thing, go around Massachusetts, in the area, so it's kind of cool, and maybe get the controls with my assistants and stuff, and and see if they, like it or not.
Excellent. So then if you're, I love talking to people who actually have grown up in the program. So how did you get involved?
I got involved because I started going to air shows when I was younger. I started going to the Westover air shows with my whole family. Okay. I don't have any pilots in my family, so it's all fairly new to us.
I was just going to ask that. Is this a family thing?
Yeah, well, my dad drives a truck for work, and I think I got the travel bug from him. And ever since my parents and other people have recognized the bug for aviation and me, they've supported it 110%, so it's nice.
It must be horribly expensive.
It is, yes, yeah, but it's very rewarding.
Yep.
Yeah, and my parents had helped because I was too young to have a job up until I soloed, flew alone for the first time, and then once I was, old enough to have a job, then I paid for my flight training, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the flying has been part of your life now for the last 5 years, and as you you've grown with the program.
Yes, yeah, and I hope to stick with it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you, my friend, I'm not going to call you Mark. So how did you get involved? Or I should ask this, are you involved? Or you just randomly walk into the studio?
No, I got involved like around 2.5 years ago when my dad saw...
That's a fourth of your life ago.
Yeah.
All right.
When my dad was looking in the newspaper and he saw an advertisement for Young Eagles, and he was like, "Oh, I know this," because his coworker, he actually told him about this. So then one Saturday we went down there, and I had a blast with my 2 other siblings.
Okay.
And it just got me super hooked. I went in a Bonanza 836, I think, and that was like one of the nicest rides there.
Really?
So that's how I got hooked. It just happened to
So you like
fast.
it. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went up and you got hooked. So how often do you meet?
Well, I go to Young Eagles every month because
Okay.
we hold them every month.
So monthly.
That,
All right.
but other times in other months, I go to different times at the airport. Like there's Hangar Talk, where a bunch of pilots get together to meet and eat breakfast at Nancy's Airfield Cafe down there. And there's the chapter meetings where we get together and talk in the chapter, and there's other activities.
Okay.
around
So
the
there's a lot
airport.
going on.
Yeah.
Something of interest, and it's not all about the flying, but it's also not all book learning. It seems pretty
Yep.
well rounded. So if you were, well, actually, so you started at age 9?
9.5, yeah.
Okay, and what got you interested? The offer of a free ride in the newspaper, and then it just went from there? Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, it sounds like we know how to market, but you know, part of it also is as a nonprofit organization, you do events and you raise money, and I understand we have a fundraiser coming up.
We have a open house at Minuteman Airfield. This is in Stowe.
Okay,
It's an airfield open house. We are doing, there's an organization there that teaches mechanics, NAA. They're having an open house the same day. There's a 5K run. Let's see, 2.5 laps of the runway.
so you run the runway.
Run the runway.
Run the runway.
And food. Fun, friends,
that would get me there,
flying,
yes.
food, all the F's.
and learning about the Young Eagles.
And hopefully we may be able to do Young Eagles, depends on how busy it is. But we have an event, Young Eagles scheduled event, second Saturday of the month.
Okay.
So it starts in April on the 13th. And the next one is 2 weeks after the open house
Okay, and those events are held where?
at Minuteman Airfield.
Okay, so that Stowe is the base operation?
That's correct.
Great. And so if you want to learn more, you go to eaa196.org, and that'll give you the full schedule, all that information. There'll be buttons for the fundraiser. And the important thing about the fundraiser is that the money raised goes towards the program, right? So to help offset costs, fuel, everything that goes into maintaining an airplane. As you said, it can be a bit of an expensive hobby.
Yes, yeah, but it's like, it's very rewarding.
Okay.
Yeah, you make your way.
Most of us worry about paying for our car. You've
yeah.
kind of stepped it up a little bit there. So
A little
good
bit.
for you. Good
Thank
for
you.
you.
The scholarships help too. So
Scholarships are beautiful things. So
Yes.
with that, if I am a parent of a child who's interested, how do I make the first step? What's the first connection?
The first stop is the website.
Okay.
The second stop is the second Saturday of the month. We do it April to November,
9 to 12 too.
9 to 12?
9 to 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
9 to 12. The 12, well, we keep going until we run out of
Gas?
kids, pilots, or weather. Usually we run out of kids.
That's really
first.
nice to know, though, so that way there's not a cutoff, and if I'm last in line, I don't miss out.
On a decent Saturday, we do 20 to 30 kids.
Okay.
The biggest one that I remember was 72 kids, and it ran sometime after 2 in the afternoon.
Wow.
a lot of pilots.
Great opportunity to expose a lot of kids, though. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Excellent. So with that, what are some of the basics that we teach the kids when we get up?
Well,
You said you let them try a hand at the stick, which is pretty
so
sharp.
I would do the takeoff and landing, obviously, and radio calls and all that, and look out for other traffic around us. And I'd be sitting left seat, they'd be in the right seat. So they're still the co-pilot, but when they have their hands on the controls, they definitely feel like they're a pilot, you know, and it's really cool to watch the smile on their faces, you know, glow bigger.
Controlling an airplane.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, and they probably never even thought that would be possible, but it is.
It's a lot different than playing with a joystick in front of the television set.
Yeah, but a little more dangerous.
A little bit more dangerous, but a lot more exhilarating, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did you get into doing this? Because it's one thing to be a pilot, but it's another thing to give so much time back. So there's always paying it forward, but how did you personally get into it?
I was recruited by a high school kid.
You were?
Shortly after the program began, in an EAA chapter meeting, a boy got up and said, there's an EAA just started this program called Young Eagles, and if there's anybody around who'd like to do it, I'm looking for somebody to go fly with and run an event on weekends. And I'm an inveterate hand raiser, so I was immediately part of that, and it's been a bunch of interesting flying. Cassie was talking about giving the kid in the right seat the controls, and you just watch them. And fly around where we fly. Mount Wachusett is out there. You say, that's Mount Wachusett, point at it. And you've got the controls, and the first thing you find out is if you do something, the airplane's not going to fall out of the sky. Important thing to figure out. And then you watch the kid fly, and they're off course a little bit, and they're a little bit high, and they're a little bit low. And then you have one kid that's doing this, and is very close to where you're going to do. And says, okay, turn right and fly back to the airport. I've taken kids all the way back onto the approach to landing before taking the controls back. And some of these kids are just wonderful to see. Although there was one who was really annoying. As I was driving home, I realized he was flying better than I was on my first lesson. That was annoying.
But the really interesting, or I suppose I'll say the cool thing, is that you're giving these kids an opportunity where that opportunity wouldn't otherwise exist.
Absolutely.
And that's got to be rewarding, even if somebody does show you up by flying better than you do. So, Cassie, with I just have to ask the silly question, what's the funnest thing about flying?
How small the world is. And it's like, you know, it takes you 2 hours to get somewhere, you know, New Hampshire, when it's only maybe 40 minutes by plane. And you get to look at all the little cars and laugh at them as they're stuck in traffic or something like that. And then you can arrive at lunch on time and in style, you know?
Outstanding. Yeah. All right, I like that answer. What about you? What is the one really super thing about flying?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of reasons why flying is so great. Yeah, I really
He's going to be a
can't say.
politician because he's non-committal. I like that. Good. You're going to run for office one day, aren't you?
I don't think
See,
so.
Dell, okay. All right, so I am here with Cassie Tatro, Mark Socklin, and Greg Albert. They're all part of the Young Eagles. This is my reminder to you that we want to make sure that you put on your calendar, if you have some time to learn something new and be part of something special. On April 27th, it's going to be a beautiful Saturday. It's going to be great flying weather. At 9 a.m. in the morning, they're going to have a 5K fun run on the runway. You're going to run the runway, and I like that title. I love that title. I can't wait to see the T-shirt for that. After you're done running the runway, and obviously you have to finish before they can start flying the kids up, so you got to hustle a little bit. And then there'll be food, fun, fellowship, and you can learn about flying, the 4S, fun, food, flying, friends. Right? You okay with that? Are you going to be there?
Yes,
What's going to be the best part, the flying or the food?
both.
Okay. Are you allowed to eat while you fly? Are you allowed to, put your coffee in the cup holder and have a Big Mac sitting in the console? Do you do that?
No.
Why not?
I mean, if it gets stuck in the controls, then
Okay. That was the answer I was looking for. I like that. All right. He's with it. All right. He's done it. How about you?
I have done that.
You have
Not
done
a Big Mac though. I took my dad to Jaffrey to go to Kimball's, and he got, I forgot what he ate, but I got like a shake and a cup, and I put the cup in like a little pocket on the side, and took off. And every once in a while, I'll just sip away at my vanilla
lunch,
shake.
You got lunch to go in the airplane. That's awesome.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
So, with your experience with the Young Eagles, what is the it's an indelicate question, but what if I am a parent, I don't have a ton of money to be able to support my child with this hobby? Is this still something I should bring them up to and be exposed to?
Yes. Number one, they get a ride. Number two, if they're really interested, come out next Saturday, come out the month after, and help. Cassie was very interested, and that's what she started with. You were pushing airplanes around, moving them in the hangar,
Yep.
helping marshal airplanes coming in to the airport and going for fuel. And it's basically, is there something need to get done? Well, if you volunteer to do it, we not so much trade, but we find you're interested, and we'll give you another ride. How many airplanes have you gotten rides in? How many different ones?
Yeah.
Can't say.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. I mean,
He's going to be a great politician.
we've got
He's not going to commit. He's not. You can try, but he's not going to do it.
we've got a couple of people who have similar airplanes. We've got probably 8 or 10 different makes and models of airplanes
Oh, really? Okay.
that come out, including a couple. Let's see, we have one that was amateur built. The president of our organization built it himself
Really?
from plans.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of fun then.
That was fun.
The whole
I've
thing
flown
sounds like a
in
lot
it.
of
You've
fun.
flown in it. You've flown in Mike Smith's airplane.
So it sounds like a lot of fun. So it'd be definitely something to expose our kids to and to see if we can help push airplanes around.
Yes.
There's,
Yeah.
There's something for everybody.
Yes, yeah, and like even before I had the license, I was definitely trying to do my part, and what he said, I did all of that, and then I also got my first job there when I could afford the flying, and I still work there today.
Excellent, excellent. So if you are interested in being part of the Young Eagles or learning about them or being part of their open house, it's the annual open house on April 27th, you should log on to their website at www.eaa196.org. That's their chapter. I'm going to give you the last word. Of course, we're almost out of time, but I want to make sure I get this out here. Also, they're part of the national organization, youngeagles.org, with an international connection. If you are an aspiring pilot, and even if you don't know if you're an aspiring pilot, or maybe you want to be an aspiring astronaut, you got to start somewhere. This would be the place to go. And then a reminder that on Saturday, April 27th, is the annual open house. It's up in Stowe, Massachusetts. It will be a beautiful day. You can, at 9 o'clock, you can run the runway. It's a 5K. Get yourself exercised out, then eat some food, enjoy some friends, and then go flying. What better way to spend a beautiful Saturday than doing that? So I'm going to give each of you the last word. Are you going to commit if I ask you a question? I'm not going to ask you a question. I'm going to let you ask me a question. Are you ready? Oh yeah,
No.
we're going to do it right now. Here we go.
I don't.
I'm going to give it to you. I'm ready. All right. Me and my kid. Why should I bring him up the Stowe?
You should bring him up to Stowe because it has a big impact on your kid, and it's either he likes it or doesn't like it. If he's never been on a plane before, this is quite the experience. And sometimes kids can face their fears with this of like heights or planes or whatever. Yeah. And if they have something very good for a plane, and then they'll just get right into it and they won't be afraid anymore.
That was perfect. All right. Top that.
Oh, geez, I can't.
So, and then I suppose from you, given that you've been doing this now for 5 years, what does the future hold for you?
Future holds for me an instrument rating, which I'm working on now so I can fly in clouds. And I do aspire to fly professionally. I'm not sure which direction, either airlines or corporate yet.
Okay.
So.
And I'm not getting too philosophical here, but had you not been exposed to this 5 years ago, do you think this is where you would be now?
I don't think so. Okay. And I'm definitely grateful. And I love everything.
Outstanding. All right, sir. Last word.
Flying is different from everything else you've done. There's stuff you can see that you can't see anywhere else. I rented an airplane in Hawaii once when there was a lava lake that was active, and you fly over a lava lake, and there's lava flowing in lava tubes that you can't see that any other way. There's something called a glory, which you can see on the cloud down below. It's a circular rainbow with the shadow of your airplane in the center. As well as just simple things that, like Cassie mentioned, you can, on the 4th of July weekend, you can fly to Provincetown, looking at 140 miles an hour, looking down at cars doing 14. It's
And I would imagine seeing
really
the fireworks
makes you
would be
feel
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
It's the specialness of it, the stuff you can't see anywhere else.
Well said, well said. So Mark Sockman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Bob.
Greg Albert, thank you for being here. And Cassie Tater,
Thank you.
so much for being here. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to join us here. If you'd like more information about this, you, of course, can log back into our website if you've missed anything at www.fcatv.org, or check out the Young Eagles at eaa196.org. That'll give you all the information, directions up to Stowe, and why you should be part of their open house on April 27th or on the second Saturday of each month from April through November. Go up there, take a spin around, push some planes around, and become part of their program. Young Eagles, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope you have a great day, everybody. Take care.